How we doing, everybody? This is Let's Be Real Brad, and today I'm going to be talking about the newest 2020 rom-com movie, The Broken Hearts Gallery. Broken Hearts Gallery is directed by Natalie Krinsky in her debut film, which stars Dacre Montgomery, who was in Stranger Things, if that's how you're going to know him for, and Geraldine Viswanathan was also in Blockers. This movie was so sweet, it was so charming, and it had something about it that made it so enjoyable. And that's why I really think this is a solid movie, and this was a really good release by Sony, putting these smaller movies out there, because they know it's not going to make a ton of money as it is, and people can really just go and check out this movie because it's so simple, it's easy to watch, and it was so much fun. Let's go over the positives in this, and the first one is the two leads. They are awesome together. They add so much great chemistry, and they have so much comedy and wit to their characters. They really sell everything in this movie, as it relies solely on them. I thought they did an awesome job, especially Geraldine Viswanathan. She is incredible. I think why I really enjoy this movie is honestly because of her performance. I thought she killed it in like every scene. Her comedy is on point. And she just has such a sweet charm and likability about her that even though she can make dumb decisions throughout, you see where she's coming from. And she just kills it every time on screen. And I just always felt myself smiling every time she was talking or she was interacting with somebody else. It was just something nice that I really wanted to see. Dacre Montgomery does play a different role than in Stranger Things, obviously. And I thought he did a really good job in this role, and just seeing him all smiling and happy in so many parts of this movie was definitely a different change than I've seen him in, but it was really nice movie to watch. As I was mentioning earlier, the comedy works so well, and I think that's why I think this movie stands above a lot of other romantic comedy films, because the writing actually feels kind of genuine, and at times just really sweet and down to earth. There are some times where the comedy doesn't always work and the joke goes on for too long, but that I think is just there's a lot of improv that is used in this movie, and I can't really tell when it's improv and when it's not, but I think that's really my only complaint with that. Everything else was pretty solid, and I always felt invested with these characters, as the writing is very simple, and everything is really predictable at times and easy to follow. But they do have some good twists along the way, and there's so many little subplots that actually everything does connect together and nothing feels like it's left out. And that is something that a lot of movies like this will throw in so many of these complicated situations and they never resolve them, or they just feel silly or completely unrealistic, and I think this movie sold it on that. We're gonna go for some negatives. I think some of the writing isn't all that great, with characters just spewing how they feel constantly. It does become very annoying, especially if you're just someone that is trying to feel respected, but the writing just feels as though that they have to make it so that dumb audiences can know what's happening, even though I feel like it's really obvious and evident if you know people and you've been in a relationship at some point. There are times where, like I said before, the jokes go on for too long and they become overly distracting, and it does take me out of the movie a little bit, because I'm like, alright, time for this joke to end, let's cut it, and it just never does. Sure, this movie is really cheesy in some points, and it follows the way it's supposed to go, especially in the second half. I think the movie really starts to fall apart in a good amount, but it does save itself for a really sweet and enduring ending, even though, again, it is cheesy like all these other movies. But there's a certain section where you're like, this doesn't even make sense. Why would this character go and do this after all this buildup? And granted, she is naive and, you know, does what you would think that this character would do, but it doesn't necessarily work for me. And there's a lot of miscommunication that happens, and it just feels kind of ridiculous, because it felt as though these characters were a little bit smarter than the average characters that were in a rom-com, but it felt as though the movie had to go this way to expand the runtime and create more unnecessary drama. It's one of those things that's going to happen in these type of movies, and you got to know that going in, because almost every rom-com basically has this structured, simplistic, basic formula. Some music choices that I thought weren't very good. They were kind of annoying, and they were just overly these you know, sanitized, generic pop songs with these stupid montages that I absolutely hate in these kind of movies. It was just really annoying, and I didn't care about it whatsoever. Some of the editing wasn't all that great. It was solid throughout, but some of the editing choices just weren't that good. And it's something that I would personally notice, but maybe not the average person. The directing was whatever. I mean, it was fine, and it was her directorial debut, so I'm not going to be too harsh on it, but it definitely didn't really add anything to this movie. It's very basic and simple in the way it's presented. But overall, I really had a fun time watching this, and I really do recommend this movie. If you can find a matinee price, I think that's the perfect price to watch this movie, because it just was so much fun. Unless you're looking for a fun date night, go and check this movie out. I mean, it really can't hurt. I think this is one of the better rom-coms that I have seen. And this is a movie that if it was $5 on a Blu-ray, I would definitely just buy it, because why not? It was a fun movie. So I'm going to give this movie a 6 out of 10. As always, if you really enjoy this video, like and share the video. Please subscribe. It really helps the channel that you guys have subscribed, liking my videos. You guys are the best. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.